Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I was trained as a psychic spy since I was a child, also in interspecies communication, which makes me more than a pet psychic. It means that I can talk to a wall, I can talk to mold, I can talk to aliens, and many other things, all of which I bring to the table to bring you extra information about what's going on. Right now, we're talking about the elections. So let me show you what my remote viewing revealed about the United States in the chat that we had yesterday, the Mantrista movement chat, where we did the mantra that there be our intention that there be a miraculously fair and miraculously fair elections and miraculously obvious results. So last time they were able to make it look like it wasn't obvious. But then we changed it. We did a visualization to where we would be looking forward in April of 2025, and we would be saying to each other, wow, what a miracle, the elections and prosperity. Because many people kind of know the results of the elections already, but there's a feeling that the opposition is going to basically destroy society or something's going to destroy society. That has been predicted for an awful long time, not just now and not just by political people, but the future's elastic and plastic and the human mind creates. So I said to the group, let's create stability after the elections. The elections are won. Now we need stability. So we did that visualization. But before we did anything, I sketched the map of the United States. And I found that in the heart of it, which would be the heart chakra, there was a black hole. Didn't look too bad, but still, it's a portal. Not good. So we did all of our work with the mantras. We did 40 minutes. It felt like 2 minutes. When you're doing the mantras, it goes really quick and you feel so good. Even if you're working for somebody else, and in this case, most of the people are not from the United States. But we kind of know that the stability of the United States is going to influence the rest of the world. But it wouldn't really matter. The movement would have done it anyway. But everybody felt better, and it was like 2 seconds. So then I sketched, and I was really happy. This is what I sketched. The word in the middle means joy, júbilo. So rather than having a portal in the heart, we ended up with the energies of the United States that we did not impose. We vitalized our intention, and then it was moving in the opposite direction of the hands of the clock, counterclockwise, which means root chakra, which means grounding. So joy is being grounded in the United States. Neat. So then I went ahead and I sketched the United States now at 7 o'clock in the evening, and then we'll sketch it when we finish, okay? And this is what I see. Florida's getting an incredible healing, which is good because there's another hurricane forming, but that's not really what's important. And then there's a wave of blue. I'm not sure you can tell the color. It's blue, which is communication, angelic, and then a heart in the center. My training was very strict. I cannot sketch what I want. My hand just has a life of its own. You know, your mind strings extend to all parts of your body. So I was really happy when I sketched this. I wasn't really expecting anything. So we're looking really good going into the elections. Flow, blue communication, joy, and probably the next president's address, Trump, he lives in Florida. And Elon Musk launches some of his missiles from here. This part of the United States corresponds in Bagua, Feng Shui, to helpful friends and travel. And we have two helpful friends here. Believe me, these men do not really have much in common naturally. What they have in common is a goal, it appears. So we are going to find it easier to have helpful friends due to the relationship between these two men. So now I'm going to tell you a cute story. And I hope that Trump does not fall out of love with me. Not that I'm saying he's in love with me, but I would think that if he heard my stuff, he would be kind of, hey, kind of like me. Don't fall out of love with me. Because the day I start to manipulate the truth, that's the day you could just basically throw out everything because you won't know what's not true. So, 8 years ago, Telemundo, which at that point was the second largest Hispanic TV station, Univision was first, Telemundo was second. Now they have people looking at their news shows like 3 million, 5 million. Well, the numbers that we used to not get before in English, which are much smaller populations, very powerful. So I was invited to their biggest news show. And they wanted for me to talk about the elections. Oh no, I don't remember what their question was. No, they wanted to know if Trump was going to win. And if I get a small detail wrong, excuse me, I handle so much information. They were asking me if Trump was going to win. At that point, everybody Hispanic hated Trump because we thought he hated immigrants. We should have listened more carefully. So I went, okay, well, the way I can tell whether he's going to win or not is let's go to his past life. And it will show a pattern, and that should say it. I'm not going to be quite so easy with my statements after that. When I checked, it turned out that Trump, don't kill me, Trump, it makes sense. He was a buffoon, a court jester. In the royalty courts, I guess they hung around a lot. They didn't have jobs, so they had to have people entertaining them. And they would have these men, I'm not sure that there were any women, that would just be amongst them saying jokes and whatever. But they had to be very bright and quick, because if not, they would have been kicked out on their whatever. And Trump was a court jester, and he was really, really good. The problem was he said the truth, and people knew that. When he spoke, he said the truth, including truths that were not supposed to be expressed. So even though he was incredibly good, he was thrown out. So I promptly on camera tell the producer and the cameras, I don't think he's going to win because his pattern is he says the truth, but people don't like to hear it and they throw him out. He won that election. So I was humiliated, but remembering it now, I went, oh my God, we have a powerful person here who broke a pattern. And the pattern is not that he tells the truth. The pattern is that they're not able to throw him out. So I think he's going to win the election tomorrow because he won that election, because 8 years ago, he broke that pattern. So I didn't bother looking at Kamala because it doesn't feel right. And I haven't looked at Elon. But Elon may be somebody, here we go again. Will he like this or not like it? I have no idea. He may not have any past lives, which is interesting, but also very powerful. We'll deal with that at another point. I don't want to irritate another person. All I can tell you is that Trump is powerful enough to break patterns. And he didn't break the pattern of saying the truth. He broke the pattern of getting thrown out because the truth he says is too uncomfortable. That was interesting. So I'm not going to go back to Telemundo and say, wait a minute, let me explain to you, because another era. And absolutely another era. I want to review. You can help me decide what it is, the invoice that I'm going to submit to Trump. I'm going to give him a week or two. He's going to win. I'm going to give him a week. If he doesn't win, I'm stuck anyway, whatever. But he's going to win. And if he doesn't win, okay. I'm going to submit an invoice to the government. This is not a joke, of what they owe me. And the reason I tell you these stories is because there's stuff I can't tell you because it just simply is not in your paradigm. You're going to be like, what is the matter with this woman? Did you really expect us to believe this? No, I don't, which is why I hold back a lot. But this one I'm going to say. So when I was in therapy many years ago in the 90s, my therapist, who specialized in torture victims and prisoners of war, she's a psychologist from the University of Miami, Dr. Hilda Brockman. I don't know if she's still alive. I have no idea. And so she pulled together a group of 4 female mind control victims, the only one that ever existed in the country, and I don't think another one got formed after that. I think that one was formed kind of like to squeeze information out of us. So, one day we're sitting outside waiting for her to come and open the office, and we were talking about somebody got compensated for something in the news because of a rape. And we went, "Oh, wait a second." And somebody said to another other girls, "How many times were you raped?" And she went, "Oh God, I daily bread. I don't know." And we started with that. And they went, "Okay, so if she got $3 million for one rape and nobody died and nobody was tortured, so what is it that the government owes us?" So we spent probably 10 minutes making a list of things that we need to be compensated for, and then multiplying it by the number of that lawsuit that had just, or that compensation that had just happened. It was funny. The therapist shows up and she says, "What are you guys laughing at?" And we went, "No, nothing." She went, "Come on." She opens the office. She sits down. "Okay, well, let's continue the conversation you ladies had in the parking lot." And we went, "No." And she said, "Well, why not?" And we said, "Because you can't take it." "I can take it. I'm trained." "You're trained for normal people and normal things." And we didn't share it with her because we knew she wouldn't find it funny. And perhaps you're not finding it funny now. That my birth was programmed. So that's 9 months in utero. I'm figuring out what the government owes me. And then I'm born. I'm 76. And if there's an issue in certain things that are planetary, not politics, it's not that I raise my hand, but I have some skills. I'll pitch in, never compensates. You got 9 months before birth, 76. I was sent to some wars. Don't they do double pay when you're in the military and you go to a war? Okay, start multiplying that. Oh, wait, and then you have to add all of the rape, the torture. How about when you witness somebody being murdered? What do they pay for that? That's what the government owes me. Not just me. When I talk about me, it's because I am not going to lift the veil on other people that were in the program that have, for their own reasons, and I don't blame them, not said that they were also victimized. So I'm not going to say, well, talking about me, because that I think is the only thing that's fair. Talk about me. They can use me as an example. So I'm going to send Trump an invoice. I don't think I can even handle numbers that are that high, but it's going to be a big check because I went through hell. All in the name of national security. When in the 90s I started to have memories, because most of them were repressed, I went to several lawyers. I actually don't remember if it was 3 or 4 lawyers, but from the first lawyer, the answer was the same. I said, "Listen, I want to negotiate with the government because I think I want to just kind of, I don't want to be here anymore. I never wanted to be here. I don't get a check. I don't care about the check. I don't want money." And they all said the same thing to me. "Oh, no, you don't have any rights in the United States. You fall under national security. You're an asset. So you can't go against the government." Lovely. So I decided on to funnier things. And I'm not going to tell you what the amount of the invoice is going to be or what they're going to end up at. Can you believe it? I'm sure that they'll try to negotiate. Negotiate what? Okay, negotiate down on the murders I needed to witness, on the animals, my animals that you killed and tortured, on my first pregnancy that you killed, my firstborn that your people kidnapped for several hours during Watergate because your employees who did get checks wanted me to read Watergate to see how this was going to go down. Well, we all know it went down very badly, and I didn't have permission to read it. Oh, so they took my kid. He was less than 10 days old. And they took him in a cardboard box. They walked out the door with my child in a cardboard box. How much do you think they owe me for that? Did I ever recuperate from that? No. Did I become extremely obedient, more obedient? Yes. Do I want to kill him for that? Yes. Is there any way to compensate anybody for that? No. I have had swollen glands under my left arm for decades that my acupuncturist kept saying, "This is not good. This is not good. Your left arm, heart chakra, left, is when you have fear and rage about losing a male figure. So if you get cancer in the left breast, not the right, that means you lost a significant male in your life. I had huge swollen glands there for decades because of that loss. Should I add that on the list, the invoice? Maybe. So we have the elections tomorrow. So I decided to interview two dogs. One was very cooperative, the other one wasn't. My dog and the neighbor's dog, Chucho and Machi. Machi is my dog. So Machi was too busy with Chucho's owner, whom he adores. So I had to, most of the interview was with Chucho, who's a little, I think it's a Pekingese. He's adorable. And basically what he said was Trump's going to win. The numbers will not reflect the truth because the truth will be too shocking. In other words, he's going to win by such a volume that the other side does not want that to come out. So yes, he's going to win according to Chucho the Pekingese. And that the whole and that this is exactly what happened in Venezuela, that the guys that didn't want the dictatorship did win, but they will never find out how big the margin was by which they won, because the powers that were in did not want the whole world to know how much everybody wanted them out of there. So, and I did get to Machi, and Machi, by the way, both dogs were feeling a lot of compassion for the losers, the depressions that they're going to go in, and their shame. And both of them talked about, it was in Spanish, if not, I would have put it up for you. They both talked about disinformation and how there is so much of it in the United States that it leaves everybody totally confused. Everybody's like, nobody's sure of anything. But that people, the guys that spread the disinformation, are basically the type of guys that might be Christian and Catholic and go to church on Sunday, but they forgot or didn't think it would apply other than Sundays, the fact that we're in Revelations and that all that stuff is coming out. So in the future, lying will be much more difficult. But both Chucho and Machi, two dogs, had a lot of compassion for the losers. That was sweet. And I think that Trump needs to remember that. Because the bottom line, and everybody at the highest level of spirituality knows this, and at the other levels of the people that are not quite as savvy or knowledgeable, at the highest level, light has as much value as dark. And without dark, you don't know what light is. And on planet Earth, our enemies are those aliens that, oh, do they exist? They don't exist. Those are the real enemies on planet Earth. And we have played, without remembering that that was what was set up, light against dark. And in that process, learned a lot about ourselves and learned a lot about the opposite, light or dark. And in the process, there's an acceptance of both. Right now, we're kind of like, I think at the tail end of the maximum hitting up against each other of light and dark. And then after that, there's a merger of both. And that is when you can ascend completely and return to God. So the people that play out the dark, remember that story I told about the angel coming and asking for volunteers to carry the darkness on planet Earth, a darkness that came from off planet? People that are carrying the dark are going to be able to be revealed for what they are. When Bush came in years ago, and maybe I shouldn't say this, I was like, God, this is not possible because of all the war stuff. And then I went, the country needs warmongers because they need to remember who they are. And it continued, and people weren't remembering. People's memories erased by the microwave from their cell phones, the Wi-Fi in their homes, They didn't know about frequencies that can repair that, whatever. So the point of the matter is that the two dogs were very compassionate about the losers. It's interesting, neat. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to, I think I had something else that I wanted to show you, but I think I already did. So we're going to go ahead and do the mantra. And now at 8 in Spanish, I'm getting together with the mantristas and we're going to do another hour and some to vitalize the intention that the elections be miraculously fair and the results be miraculously obvious. And our visualization will be next April 2025 that people will say to each other, each mantrita will say to somebody that they know, they love, a cousin, their mother, whatever, isn't it incredible? Isn't it miraculous? The results of the election and the prosperity, which is jumping to the future and anchoring what you want. And then everything adjusts to it because your intention creates reality. So we're going to go ahead and do a mantra now. I think I'm missing something. I don't remember what it is. I'm going to be really glad when this is all over and the sex trafficking thing is addressed, and my enemies in Miami can kind of realize that they doesn't matter what they do to me or threaten to do to my kids or my family or whatever. That they need to go ahead and figure out their own life. What are they going to do? You're talking about an incredible network of evil in Miami. I don't think Miami's going to be fun very much for a while. I still don't have any mail. Since the 22nd of August, I have no US mail, no forwarding mail. And from what I can perceive, there are lawsuits going on having to do with me. People have used my name for fraudulent insurance claims. They had expected me to be dead because there were several things that were done to ensure that I would be dead, having to do with black magic. Well, I'm not dead. And I knew about that when it was happening. But what I didn't know about till now is that they needed for me to be dead because I can't show up in court. Meanwhile, I can't show up in court because the court cannot reach me because I have no mail. And my email is also intervened, which is the way you would say it in Spanish. And GoDaddy and Microsoft took away my second email, ffox. And they said that if I paid again, blackmail, that I could get back all the emails that I wasn't getting for like 8 weeks. And I did pay again, and I haven't gotten any of the old stuff. And I think people stopped trying to contact me because it was so long that they couldn't get it. So we have a network of evil that is involved at every level. It's not just local. You're talking about all the big companies that you do business with. There's groups of people inside that the bad guys can just call and they can get anything to happen. And they do. So since August the 22nd, no forwarded or even practically any new email of the companies that I have let them know that I have moved. And I did speak to the head of the Coconut Grove post office, who got really weird on me. The first day I went, he went ahead and said, you need this and this, to come back the next day. And he put his name on one of the envelopes. And when I was there 2 days later, because the following day, I don't remember what happened, he didn't remember me. And he didn't know what the hell I was talking about. We're talking about forwarding my mail. I said, how could you not remember me? You gave me your cell phone, which I think he wasn't supposed to do. Have you ever had somebody in the mail give you their phone number? I don't think so. Maybe he thought, who knows what he thought. A lot of people are running scared now, and they should. I've been scared since before I was born. So maybe it's not a taste of their own medicine. Maybe it's so that people will understand that there are consequences. I don't really know. Let's do the mantra. We have an election coming up tomorrow. So this is, by the way, when I did this map, I know that's what it is. What I was reading was the energy of the elections. It wasn't just a map of the United States. It was the energy of the elections. And those are waves of blue, which is really good, throat chakra, communication, not blocked, which means that the ballots, they're not going to be able to block them, heart chakra, and then helpful friends and travel. That's what I forgot to tell you. Okay, so here is, I think, there it is. And let's go ahead and do 10 minutes, okay? And we will be getting together now at 8 in Spanish, and we'll be going to be getting together tomorrow at 12 in Spanish to do these mantras and visualizations to vitalize the intention. Okay. And I'm going to do the one for sex, which is the sacral for God, connection to God. But it's also for sex. Take your breath and the mantra and direct it 2 inches below your belly button, which is your sacral sexual chakra. Okay, horses are used for therapy for pedophiles because horses heal the second chakra, which is the energy center that has to do with sex, plus other things. So that's the reason for those images. And then the sounds, the frequencies that are on that video uh, were composed by Mateo Cuaron, who's a musical genius. But I need to go back to something before we finish. There's stories that I can't tell you yet because you're not ready, but you need to get ready quick because there's not that much time left on the planet. And I don't think we're going to die badly. So it's like not like a good thing. Like we're almost getting to the party. The whole thing with sex and how it has been so distorted, beaten up, blocked, it's kind of interesting. So you have people that are um, prudish. Everybody's uncomfortable with that, including me. But we need to understand it. I have a story that I want to tell my children because I think that my enemies try to reproduce the issue because they know a lot about black magic, but we're talking about the really, really ugly part of black magic. And that's a transference of the energy of one person to the other through the act of sex. Okay, so when you have sex with somebody, your mind strings connect to them for, I believe it's 12 years. And it's a connection that's like a tube. Your mind streams are tubes that insert into the other person. But that tube, the energy goes both ways. This is beyond that. A story that when I tell you, it's going to include somebody dying in the process and a complete transference of energy. Well, you can go, oh, wow, that's a great thing for a movie. No, too many people know that. And it has to do with who you are at a level of consciousness, which apparently also has a lot to do with your DNA. And from what I'm seeing and gathering, having to do what has been going on around me that I was not aware of in these last several years, there's been an issue of trying to harvest the part of me that has to do with this high level of skills because of an energy that I inherited and how that can be transferred. It's horrifying. And I have needed, I've remembered this incident would did include somebody dying. And I couldn't handle it or deal with it. I could certainly never have told the story, and I'm not ready to say it now, but I'm more comfortable with it now. I'm going to be able to share the story, but I'm only sharing it in order for people to be aware of what can be done by people who know so much more than you guys do. But they're right here in the middle of your society, posing as okay people, nice people, great people, religious people, powerful people. We need to know about ourselves, and ourselves is not the physical body. The physical body is an empty vessel that is filled with stuff that's energetic, which means non physical, and it's all spiritual. So I'm almost ready to say that story and a couple of others that are really like, oh my God, what? It's not possible. And then we go to your belief system. If you actually think that when you die, that's it, and you still haven't understood that when you die, you've been liberated from the burden of having a physical vessel, vehicle, being contained by that physical vehicle, then these other stories will just be for you stories, except I lived through it. I was not aware of being the center of gravity of two or three groups of people that want who I am and have done god awful things to try to claim who I am and not in the court system. That's another set of issues. So, why don't you start having an intention to be able to hear stuff that is so god awful or so against what you were taught that you hear it and you not discard it? You leave it there as information. And then the pieces of the puzzle will start to fit in. We cannot continue to have just a very small segment of society know so much about us, have absolutely no supervision, no consequences, to where they can do anything and we don't even know it. We can't have that happen from here forward. We need to understand and we need to know. And I believe that that is the reason why I chose to go through what I went through and why I'm here today to teach about magic and learning it through black magic, having witnessed it, having participated, having been used by it, and then trying to get it figured out. So we'll be back tomorrow, the elections. Okay?